The video game handheld console market has seen some great video game handheld consoles, and the dominant competitor in the handheld video game market has been Nintendo since it started out with the original Game Boy back in 1989. And today's review is not about the original Game Boy, but about the original Game Boy Advance. This would be the model AGB-001, as you can see by the label in the back. As you can see though, many people got this at launch, and overall as of around 2008, I know that this model of the Game Boy Advance sold more than 30 million units in the United States, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if that was worldwide. However, the problem with the original Game Boy Advance with this one would be that it had no backlight, even though it can be modded and you can place some LEDs in this thing to light up the screen. Normally no backlight, and the screen on this thing was very dark because took this on the go and you turned it on, not much you can see there. Very bad screen. Although it plays great and I like the position of the buttons and such, but the backlight was a big problem, and it still is if you own one of these. Although there are some peripherals and accessories out there that you can get to deal with this problem. And as you can see, the original Game Boy Advance has the Game Boy Advance logo on the bottom right below the screen, and it has the D-pad on the left, which feels nice. It's a bit small, but I have small hands, so that's really not a problem for people like me with small hands. And well, it's very responsive when you're playing any game, and it takes a while for this to really break down and stop working properly like it should. I've had this only for a few months and it's in excellent condition. I got it for about $1, and well, it's never failed me in any way, shape or form. Anyway, you have your start button right here on the top. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it says start right there. Then you have your select button right below it. These buttons really don't do much except for unless you're talking about the start button, which pause the game and allowed you to navigate menus in pretty much every game imaginable. And well, the select button really didn't do much. It was used more like a shortcut button as seen in the Pokemon games of the third generation, Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald. You press select and boom, out came an item automatically. So the select button really not all that important in Game Boy Advance games. And if you look to the right of the handheld, you have the speaker right here, which lets out the audio of the games, and this is just mono. It's not stereo unless you use some headphones with it. You have your B button right below the speaker next to the A button, which are pretty much your standard action buttons, and you have the LED right here that indicates when it's on, and it lights up green when it's on. As you can see, if I turn it on, lights up letting you know that it's powered on. You also have your shoulder buttons right here, the left shoulder button and the right shoulder button, which also function very well. I like these. I kind of wish the Nintendo 3DS had these kinds of buttons, because if you've seen the Nintendo 3DS, the buttons are quite small, and I wish they were bigger like this one. These feel nice and sturdy, and they're also very responsive. Although if you get muck on them, they will stop responding, so you gotta clean them once in a while. Moving on, you have these two little dents right here in the console, which I assume are for accessories or peripherals, anything of that sort. And you have right here something that says external in, basically another entry for any accessory that you use, perhaps a worm light, stuff of that sort. And it comes in handy for those areas that are too dark or have very bad lighting, if you use a worm light to light up the screen of the Game Boy Advance. So you move on to the back, you have the cartridge input right here, and if you take out your cartridge and you want to play some Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team, which I probably assume you don't because it's not the greatest game in the world, but that's your cartridge input, and that's where you place your game, so that you can just pick up the Advance and play away. On the bottom of the console though in itself, you have the power on and off switch. So you move it If it's on the left, it's not powered on. If you move it to the right, it powers on, allowing you to play your games. If you move it back to the left, it's off. And right below that, you have the battery compartment where you place the batteries. Unfortunately, my Game Boy Advance doesn't have the battery cover. I will get one eventually for it, but right now I don't, and I use rechargeable batteries because I don't like spending money on AA batteries that aren't rechargeable. So I say you go with rechargeable batteries. And moving on the right side on the bottom, you have the headphone jack, which when you connect the headphones in and you put them on, you can listen to the games in stereo as opposed to just mono with the one speaker that the Game Boy Advance has if you don't use headphones. This is the volume control right here. It's a little wheel that you move to the left and to the right. If you move it to the left, you decrease the volume. If you move it to the right, you increase the volume. And well, it works very well. No complaint with that whatsoever. You have the sticker on the back that indicates that it's a Game Boy Advance, along with the barcode sticker, which really has no purpose anymore. You have the model number on the back that says AGB-001, which is the particular model of this Game Boy Advance. And well, that's pretty much the Game Boy Advance for you. There's nothing too special about it nowadays because compared to modern handheld consoles today, it's a very simple console. You know, it's not trying to do anything all at once. It's a portable and Super NES basically, but with its own library of games, and it's an excellent handheld console that I recommend. I don't particularly recommend that you get this model though, because there are better models out there such as the Game Boy Advance SP that do have backlight, allowing you to play games in dark areas. So this is the Game Boy Advance. Don't go out there and buy it unless you're a hardcore collector like I am and you just want to have it out there to show it off to your friends when you see them playing their 3DSs and they see you playing Pokemon Red Mystery Dungeon on your original AGB-001 model Game Boy Advance. That's the review, and thank you.